Hello everyone, I hope you're all well and welcome back to Life Abroad Panama. Today we have a very special guest. We have Melissa from Legalize That Doc. Now, we have some really interesting questions to ask her today about how her company can help you and assist you in your process for your documents if you're thinking about coming to Panama. Now, let's get into it. Hi. Facing immigration questions or business legalities, our lawyers are here to help you. We make it easy to get the legal advice you need when you need it. Hello everyone and welcome back to Life Abroad Panama. Today in this new episode, we have an awesome guest. We have Melissa from Legalize That Doc. Hello Melissa, welcome.
So much for having me, Monica. It's a pleasure to
Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Now, we're going to get straight into it, Melissa. So your personal background. So I would like to know that the company's overview, really. What services does Legalize That Doc specialize in, and what is your company's mission?
So our company services a lot of different clients from different originating countries. Prior to Legalize That Doc opening up, I was a photojournalist that was an expat myself. So I understood what it meant to live in other countries and the hassle of getting documents put together. My family is a bunch of lawyers in Canada, so I had a lot of resources here. And then I used to work for an immigration law firm in Costa Rica. And that's where I was really able to learn the different residency applications, the needs that the law firms had for their clients, as well as the different rules and regulations that were needed for each document. It was a real hard time for the law firm to actually get Canadian documents. And because during the pandemic, they realized that I was in Canada, I had so many resources available at my fingertips that they're just like, Melissa, if we can help train you, can you help us? And I was like, absolutely, let's do it. So then Legalize That Doc was born, and this was prior to Canada joining The Hague, where Canadians needed to have their documents authenticated and then legalized.
Okay.
Joined The Hague January 11th, 2024, where we do apostilles. But because we also have a location in Florida, we were already experienced in the apostille world because of the American documents. Now, we do service Canadians, Americans, and Europeans. And services that we do provide is obtaining criminal checks while you're not in the country, whether it is a name-based criminal check in Canada, a visa border crossing criminal check in Canada, or if you're looking for FBI criminal checks for the Americans or criminal checks for the Europeans. Now, we do have different forms and different regulations and different procedures that we need to do depending on what your client's need is. But we then have procurements of specific vital documents. In Canada, Albertans and Quebecois, they have a really hard time obtaining their personal vital documents like birth certificates, marriage certificates, things like that. So because we do have lawyers on staff, we have public notary, we have an accountant on staff, we have different credentials that allows us to help the clients procure these documents while they're not in Canada. Now, for the Americans, it depends on which state. As you know, every state is almost like its own country within a country. So it depends on the state for processing time and for the rules and regulations. So we do find different ways to get around it and to make sure that everything is in alignment so that we're able to procure as well as apostille their documents in a timely manner, because we are aware that documents have a certain shelf life. If you are a client and you're applying for citizenship, your documents can only be 3 months old. But if you're a client and you're applying for temporary residency or permanent residency, your documents can then be 6 months old. So Also, there's other rules and regulations, like some countries will accept really old birth certificates, but that birth certificate cannot be apostilled if it's older than 5 years. So there's like a lot of like little tricks here and there that we create for our clients so that they don't have to worry and stress about the rules and regulations and the red tape. They have so much on their plate, moving to a new country, creating a new life. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. It's a lot.
It is a lot. And we're here to make it easier with our full concierge service. Another service I didn't mention, which a lot of our law firms really enjoy that we offer. It is for the Canadians, but it is a remote power of attorney that we offer. And this is when clients are not in the destination country, but they do need to grant their lawyer permission to act on their behalf. So we go through certain steps and stages with a lawyer and recorded videos, and we kind of have that. Once we have the original documents, we can then process it within a week with a Canadian apostille. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, you do a lot. But that's really cool hearing how many things you do, because I can just see that you're a very detailed company. You try to make the process simple for people. And when you're moving to another country, you want the process to be as simple for you as possible, really, don't you? So that's just really awesome hearing. There's so much to do.
Exactly.
So that's just really reassuring for people to hear that actually there is a way you can do things that will make things easier for you. And that's where you guys come in, isn't it? So that's great. So your company, like you said, focuses on apostilling, authenticating, and legalizing. Could you just explain like the differences between these processes and like it in more simple terms for us that are not so familiar with these things?
Simple in a specific way. If you can imagine that the apostille certification is getting your document world ready. Okay? It's basically a stamp or a letter that says this document is real. Now, if the destination country is a part of The Hague is a convention that was created first October 5th of 1961. And there are so many countries that are a part of The Hague. So if you're an American or you're a Canadian and you're moving to a country, i.e. like Panama is part of The Hague. You only need to apostille your document. But let's say the client is moving to Dubai. Okay? Dubai is not part of The Hague. So now not only do we need to apostille your document, we then need to take that apostille document and bring it to the Dubai or Emirates consulate or embassy in the United States. So then you need to take that document to the destination consulate, and that's where the consulate will then legalize that document. And basically what they're saying, I recognize this apostille signature, and I know that this is real. Therefore, my people back home are going to recognize my signature. So because my signature is recognized as a legalization, we can now accept your identification or your vital documents to be accepted in our country.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Makes sense?
Wow. Yeah. That was a really good explanation, honestly, because it for people who don't know these things or are not fully familiar with these things, it can be a bit confusing trying to figure out what they need, if they need to apostille, legalize, and authenticate the document, or if it's only one or if it's just two, so it's really good to understand those things.
What if it's notarized prior to apostille? So even specific documents have a very specific protocol that needs to be done before they even get that certification stamp.
Okay. So from what I can hear, everyone's going to have a kind of different process depending on what documents they have.
Okay. we don't take our clients of like, oh, you just need these. Like, no, we take a 30-minute intake call because there's things that clients might not even realize that they do need. Okay.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things, or one of the things that I find out a lot from my clients are name changes. Okay. So if your birth certificate does not match your passport, how is the immigration team going to know that you are who you say you are?
Okay. Does that even include people who get married? Like that's the case for them if they change their name. Okay.
Or let's say they changed their name just because they wanted to change the spelling. They wanted to change the A to an E. They then need if they're American, they need to have a name change certificate done where the lawyer where they live needs to put it in the newspaper for 4 weeks and nobody can contest. And then they bring that to the court systems and then they get this name change certificate. And then once they have that, then I can have that and apostille it. That's just if you're just changing the spelling of your name or changing your name entirely. If you're changing your name through marriage, then every marriage certificate needs to be present.
Yeah.
So I had once a client who was married 5 times. She was a Canadian client. Instead of us asking and having each marriage certificate apostilled, we asked for proof for every marriage, and then we were able to draft an affidavit. The affidavit can then state all of the names with the proof, with the supporting proof and everything. And then that affidavit is basically saying that this person is in fact who they say they are. And that document has to be apostilled. So there's things like this that we're able to discover on our intake meeting just to make sure that when you do take your documents, are you going to be accepted?
Yes. And that's so important because you want to ensure that, one, people are doing it right, and two, like, there's no like time wasting because you already have like the main information. Exactly. That's a big thing for people, time. Like I said, especially if you're moving to another country, you want to be as time efficient as possible, right?
Exactly. So another thing that we do in our intake call is we actually create a custom document plan for each client. Right?
Yeah.
So I had a client that was an American who was born abroad. He was born in Germany, but all of the other documents are American. We knew that it was going to take us 6 months just to obtain an apostille his German, like his born abroad document. This is not a standard document.
Yeah.
We had to talk to politicians just to have things move forward. Like it was quite but because we knew that this would take us so long, we're not going to start any other document until we know that this one is moving in the right direction, because that's when your timeline starts. If we did FBI, as soon as we started the born abroad birth certificate, the FBI criminal checks would be expired. They'd be over 6 months.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that happens to a lot of clients. They're like, oh, we did this ourselves, but then this was expired and this was, it's like, can you just help us? It's like, let's just do it right the first time with us.
Exactly. Because then that's, like I said, wasting time and money because they have to do it again.
Nobody wants to pay more money. Like it's not.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to have their documents submitted and then be reviewed however much.
Yeah.
And then be like, oh, your documents weren't processed properly and you now need to do this all over again. And you now need to go in the back of the line.
Oh, yeah.
To me, they're like, we went with these other document companies and our documents have all been denied. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry they didn't know the difference of a federal apostille or a provincial apostille, and your document actually needs to have a federal apostille because it's a federal document. So that's so happening, especially with a lot of the Canadians and their RCMP.
Yeah. Okay. It's nice to see how knowledgeable your company is, because then it's going to be a much more smoother process for people that come. Another question I have, no, it's awesome, really. So who actually are your typical clients, and what challenges do they face when dealing with immigration related documents?
So we have 3 typical tiers of clients that we have. We have our clients that come straight to us. These are our families, our pensioners, our investors, the rentistas, people that are wanting to do things themselves. They find us for new opportunities. They don't have a lot of time, and they're willing to pay for a full service because they know that they want it done right the first time. Our next set of clients are law firms. We work directly with law firms as well as international schools and relocation companies. We work directly with them because when we work with the law firms, they want to make sure that I'm going to send my client to a document company that will do the documents properly, and they will send us the digital PDFs prior to us receiving the actual hard copies. When we send the digital PDFs to the law firms and to the clients, the law firm is now able to do translations, and they're able to have documents processed even faster so that if there is a timeline crunch, we're able to make those deadlines. And then the third type of client is my external clients that are sent to me from the law firms or from the relocation companies.
Okay. So in my head, I'm thinking, only families will need your services, people that want to move abroad, retirees. Actually, there's a big, broad range of different types of people and companies that need your services in order to get their documents legalized and things done the right way, right?
When I talk about lawyers, it's not just immigration lawyers, it's also real estate lawyers, right? Because sometimes the power of attorney signed and the client's not in the country. So those documents need to be apostilled, and we're able to process them so quickly that the real estate lawyers really like working with us for those reasons.
Yeah. So I know you do with the things we just talked about, apostille, legalizing. Is there anything else that you offer your clients?
Anything else? A tap dance? Nervous? Around the clock care and love?
Yeah.
Things, especially when I'm dealing with my pensioners. My pensioners, one of the things I like to tell them is that I don't like to dance with anxiety, and I don't think they like to dance with anxiety either.
So exactly, yeah.
Start having those doubting thoughts. A lot of my clients, they call me and I'm like, oh no, we're at this stage. And I still reiterate them and letting them know exactly where we're at. Because sometimes people forget, right? It's a lot of information. Yeah. They're like, I'm still waiting. I'm like, yes, because Ohio is taking 3 months to process an apostille, or New York is taking so long. And these are the tracking numbers. This is where we're at. It's okay. Everything is still valid, right? And sometimes we'll just want to have that friendly call or communication so that they know, breathe.
Yeah.
So
exactly, yeah.
Working with us.
That's great. It's nice to know that, it's nice to know a company like that generally cares about people, so that's important when you're choosing someone to help you with your documents, because like we said before, it is a tedious process. It's not easy.
So many red lines.
Exactly, yeah. And it's nerve-wracking as well. You're like, you're not sometimes you're not sure about things, so it's just nice when you're made to feel reassured that actually, no, it is fine. And like you said, helping people who may be feeling anxious. No, it is fine. This is normal, That's really cool.
We'll walk.
Exactly. Exactly. So for expats planning to move to Panama in particular, what are specific documentation, what specific documentation is commonly required for immigration processes in Panama?
criminal checks. The visa border crossing is for the Canadians. It must have a federal apostille. We did write a blog on our website about the difference of apostilles, so a federal versus provincial. It's really important that they do get that. For the Americans, it is the FBI. They do need birth certificates and marriage license, but they don't tend to get those. And usually, my Panamanian clients, it's just the criminal checks that they're required for the apostille.
Yeah.
For immigration.
So like depending on the country, it depends on what they need, really.
Each country has its own set of rules, and our team is really skilled at navigating through each set of rules. So, Panama has one set of rules, Costa Rica, Ecuador, Italy, Portugal, they all have their own set, right? And a lot of my clients are actually passport collectors. So I have clients that hire our Legalize That Doc from multiple countries. Right? And we just need to navigate with these specific documents, what is needed per destination country. And that's the key.
Yeah. So, for example, if people have, let's say, a Canadian and a French passport, would they have to go through the process twice with all those different documents since they have documents from two different countries?
So you'll need your birth certificate, right? Where were you born? That would be one. Any marriage certificates that your name has been changed, those could also be requested. Now, if you've lived in the country for 5 years, you need that criminal check. So let's say if the client they've lived in the US and they lived in Europe. Let's say they lived 5 years in each country, they're going to require each criminal check.
So 3,
right? So they don't know that until you actually have these intake conversations, right?
Yeah.
Sure, I could have forms and you could fill out forms, but what if there's something that you told me that you wouldn't have told a form? And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. And then we start pulling that thread, and then all of a sudden we realize you need more documents, or you don't need those documents because you can get away with different things. And obviously, we always talk to the lawyer. The lawyer has the final say. So if I discover anything, I always report to the lawyer and I say, hey, I'm not sure you're aware of, but the client changed their name that had an A into an E in the 70s.
Yeah.
Their documents don't all match. Do we need an affidavit? Can you do the affidavit? Does the affidavit need to be done in the originated country? So what can we do? Because the lawyer is the expert on the submission of the applications.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So for people...
What were you going to say? Sorry.
Okay, so no worries. So for people who don't know what an affidavit is, can you just kind of tell us a bit more about that?
Absolutely. So an affidavit is drafted by a lawyer, and it is a sworn agreement. So let's say for my clients who had 5 marriages, right? The lawyer drafted a letter basically stating that I, the person, solemnly swear that this is my ID, this is my passport, I was married this date to this person, changing my name to this name, and then I was divorced, and then I was married, and then all of the details. So the lawyer is drafting this letter, and then the client is signing it because the client is solemnly that this information is true, and the lawyer is saying that they signed it in front of the lawyer. And basically the lawyer is saying that this person says it's true, I've seen the documents, and then they put this together so that it can then be notarized and then apostilled.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's a great explanation for people who don't know. Now you know.
Exactly.
Okay. So, how critical is it to get these documents right? How critical is it for people? Why is it so important that they're done in the right way and each document has the correct process? Why is that so important?
It can make or break your application. It can make or break thousands of dollars that you've spent.
Yeah.
Now, spend. If you don't have your documents done the right way the first time, you can either be given or granted an extension, or your application can be granted a full-out flat denial.
Wow.
And that's the huge thing. Okay, so for countries that don't have as fast of a turnaround time like Panama does, but there's other countries where their residency program, the application, it takes 18 months just before they review your application. So you think you've done all your documents in the proper way, you've submitted them, and you're waiting 18 months, and all of a sudden your application was flat out denied.
Yeah.
You need to pay all of your lawyer fees all over again. You need to pay submission fees all over again, on top of the procurement and apostille of all of your documents, if you choose to move forward with that country. So
Yeah.
it's pretty critical.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is, again, it's time, it's lots of money lost. So you just want to make sure you get those documents right, because like you said, it can make or break you.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, so it might be.
Do it yourself, but are you doing it the right way? And is it your risk to literally make sure that they're all done proper, or if they're not?
Exactly, yeah. So if they're going with a company like yours that has done this multiple times, know what they are doing, has the correct information, I'm sure you've been through different situations where you've learned from that and you know what to do now. It's better to be with a company that knows really what they're doing than you do it by yourself and you have no idea really what's going on, or you're minimizing the risk really. And making it simpler for yourself. So that's really important.
At one point in Canada, it was taking longer than 4.5 months for RC&P checks to be apostilled. We found alternative ways to have them done on a federal level. Before we found alternative ways, we were filling out 23-page reports per person, making sure that we basically begged, pleaded, and shown proof of why the documents needed to be apostilled faster than what was actually happening. So as of right now, we've never submitted an expired document, but trust me, we beg, kick, call, whatever it is that we need to do and make sure that that document lands in your lawyer's hand before it's expired is key. And that's the main point. We need to make sure that they have it and they're able to have it translated and submitted while everything is valid.
Yeah. So no, that's great there, because that you're reassuring people you're going to do what you set out to do in the first place, and that's what people want. That's what they want to know.
Yes.
So what are some of the most common mistakes or misconceptions expats have when preparing their documents, specifically for Panama? What are the biggest misconceptions that people have?
They get the wrong type of criminal check. Sometimes they don't have them apostilled. Sometimes they have them apostilled on a provincial level instead of a federal. So there's small little things. People are oh no, I have it. Look, it's my criminal check. It's that's a name-based criminal check. That's not going to cut it. Immigration will deny you. You need a very specific type of criminal check, because that's what clears you across all levels for immigration abroad. Right? So it all depends on the destination country, but Panama specific, you need to have a very specific type of criminal check, and you need to have the proper apostille.
Okay, yeah. So make sure you have the correct criminal check, guys, and I'm sure Legalize That Doc can help you with that. Another question that I really want to touch on is, how does Legalize That Doc specifically support expats looking to relocate to Panama? And how do you simplify the process for people? I know we've gotten into it a bit, but can you just tell us more about that?
We don't like to dance with anxiety, and we don't want you to dance with anxiety. So we literally take care of the timeline. We create a custom document timeline based on you and your needs. And then once we have that timeline created, we then execute everything in a timely manner so that everything can be submitted on time with the proper authentications, right?
Yeah.
Panama doesn't need legalizations if you're coming from a country that is part of The Hague. But if you're coming from a country that's not part of The Hague, you will need a legalization on top of the apostille or authentication that was done to the document, basically verifying that they are real.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess it's important for people to know, like, whether or not their country is part of The Hague, because that can make a difference.
Exactly.
A lot of difference in what you need to do, really.
Exactly. We also offer like end-to-end management. We offer the peace of mind, so that you don't have to worry about any of the document processes. And if you ever do, you just give us a call or send me a little WhatsApp. Be like, Melissa, what's going on? I'm like, it's all good. This is where we're at.
Yeah.
I know it takes a while, but we're on track. And that's another thing.
Yeah.
It is a game, right? Because you've got to wait for these offices to process the documents, and they get
Exactly.
So not as quick as me doing an Ontario document within like a couple of days. So not every province or state is as fast.
Yeah. So people do need to know that these things don't happen from 1 minute to another. It takes time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of nice to talk to somebody about that, so then you're not freaking out.
Yeah. Exactly. So they'll learn. Another thing that I want people to know, like, can you share some of your success stories? Because I'm sure you have many. What are some things that people have said about Legalize That Doc, and how you've helped them to successfully navigate this process?
Some of the success stories, like the one that I did mention with the born abroad birth certificate, that one was huge.
Yeah.
And able to move that forward was a great success. Helping clients navigate the documents and having them submitted prior to holidays, or like especially with the real estate the real estate lawyers, they have a closing, let's say, and they need things done in such a fast manner. We can have that turnaround within 2 weeks for an Ontario apostille. Like, that's huge. Have that done where it takes so much longer with other provinces can make or break a deal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
If people have their hearts set on a specific property, or let's say they want to sell a property because they need to have access to their cash, or they want to move to another country, we're able to make those dreams happen.
Yeah.
That's the biggest success. Like, me having my clients, like, if you go on our Google reviews page and you review, like, if you read the reviews, you'll see what kind of level and care we give to each one of our clients. Like, we show up and we help them every step of the way. That alone is a success.
That's a testament to your company itself. The reviews, they don't lie.
I always tell my clients, like, I don't have fake reviews. And I always tell my clients, like, if you want to help another expat, like, once they're done and like the documents are like, my job is done. I don't accept reviews until the job is done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you want to help other expats, write a review and let them know what it's like to work with us. And that's what they do. It's kind of sweet. I'm grateful.
No, that's great, honestly.
Literally, like...
And that just...
Go ahead.
No, tell me.
I was just saying, like, they're just so different. And, like, I get to meet people from all around the world with all these different plans. And that's one of the cool things is, like, I get to learn so much about them on, like, what their hopes and dreams are based on where they're moving. And that in itself is just kind of beautiful.
So, like, do you think being able to meet all these people is part of the thing that helps you stay motivated to do what you're doing?
Well, before I had children, I was an expat. I'm now a mom of 3. I can't believe I do half the things I do, but I do it with a big smile and a big heart. And my clients help me traveling. Even though I'm like here in Canada, I'm traveling that I'm taking. And that's one of the beautiful things about me loving my work. It's not work.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's something you love. That's awesome. That's really great to hear that you really love what you do, and that really helps push your company as well.
Exactly. Everyone that I have on my team, like it's a women. I only have women on my team, and everyone is a badass girl, and I'm so grateful to have them. Sorry, guys, but just women do it a different way.
That's awesome, though, that you have a great team. For people from specifically Canada, the US, who are thinking about moving to Panama, or who have even just like started to plan their move to Panama, what advice can you give them?
Well, first off, start by finding a really good lawyer, because I don't suggest, especially when they're just starting their residency process, to do it by yourself. Find a really good lawyer, because that will make or break your application. It's worth the investment. I know that a lot of people tend to do their own citizenship applications, but like they're veterans. They've been in and they've been listening to a lot of stuff, and it's a little bit simpler. But like the residency application, it's not that simple. You need a professional to literally work your application. I work with like a lot of like relocation companies or companies. I always tell them, like, don't bring your stuff yet. Like, go live there first. How do you even know that you actually want to move your whole life there? You need to feel the land, right? Start your application, and then once you have your residency, then bring your stuff over, because then you'll have even lower costs, right? Just systems alone. There's like a lot of things like this, but I definitely always tell them to seek help from a professional for the application submission. Like, I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, it's so important to seek professional help, because a professional knows what they're doing and they can help simplify the process for you, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Another thing that I'm interested about Legalize That Doc. So you've done so many things, that you have so many services for people. What is the next step for Legalize That Doc in terms of maybe new services you might be offering, tools, or any like expansions that you may be working on that people don't know about?
Oh, well, we are looking to expand. One of the things that we are not fully operational yet, but it is coming in the mix, is helping people getting Italian citizenships through the we do have somebody that is currently moving to Italy, where we'll have an office there. But this is something that we're really working on. We're working on workshops and like resources to help our clients to like be a little bit more educated. And what else? We are also,
and that's so important.
It is.
Education is really important. So that's really cool that you can offer those things to people, because people want to know more.
Exactly. So we are going to be probably changing our tier system into, let's say, basic service and then like full concierge, because the level of care that we do is very much a full concierge service. But some people just want the simple, give me the lowest amount and I don't really want to talk to you kind of service.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you want to submit everything online and do it like this, that's fine. But if you actually want to like work with a person and have the full concierge service, this is what it is. So it's kind of like changing our tiers a little bit, but those are some of the things that are coming for the new year, which is exciting.
Amazing. That sounds great, honestly. And for anyone considering using your services, what's the best way that they can get started, how they can reach you? How can they do this?
So www.legalizethatdoc.com is a great place to start. You can Google Maps, Legalize That Doc, and read any reviews. But we are also located, like we're also on social media like Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So just kind of Googling Legalize That Doc and we'll show up. You'll find us.
And for those of you from the UK in particular, it's Legalize That Doc with a Z, not an S. So make sure you write it properly.
Yeah, it's legalize. A little bit.
So that's also, just a little bit different. Okay, great. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with the audience? Anything about your work or anything that you're like passionate about, maybe that you can tell us, the audience?
I want to tell this one thing. Relocation literally is a huge, big change of your life. And from us, it's an honor to be able to help you on this next adventure of what your life could look like. And allowing us to be a part of that transition, we are honored to be a part of. And we're so excited just to hear about your plans and what your new life will have in store. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. That's so sweet, honestly. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing what your company is, who you are, how you even got started is really awesome to hear, because I think people really do connect with like people's backstories as well, like how things got started. And it's been awesome to hear how you've been able to help so many people, not just in Canada or the US, but literally across the globe, in their relocation journeys, in moving abroad. And for those of you that are looking to move abroad, particularly those of you that want to come to Panama, Legalize That Doc is more than professional in this area. They're more than capable to do it. So definitely reach out to them, check out their website if this is something that you need, that you're thinking about. I guess even to ask questions, I'm sure they're free to do that as well. Like if they have any questions, like reach out to Melissa. I'm sure she's more than happy to help you. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been really great to hear about who Legalize That Doc is.
Thanks, Monica. It's been a pleasure and an honor just to be here, to be able to speak about it and to help you and your clientele, like your audience, just have a couple of answers to their questions.
Yeah, it's so important. So important. More information is important so that you can get your processes started as well. Thank you so much. And if you would like to, if you like this video, first of all, give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel because we have more podcasts coming. And comment down below if you have any questions for us. And stay tuned for some more awesome videos, everyone. Thank you so much, Melissa. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for joining us on Life Abroad Panama. You can find us on all major podcast platforms. Curious about our guests? Just click the links. Looking for legal support? Reach us through our website. And make sure to watch more videos or check out your visa requirements.